Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. The man to my right is Evo, and we are back on a Sunday morning. We got another busy Sunday. I have had a busy fucking weekend. It has been a great weekend, but we got football going on right now taking place in Germany. We got a shitload more games coming throughout the rest of the day, and I am very much excited to be here. I am a little tired. I got some orange juice and vodka to get my day fucking started, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. We got quite a few games to get through. We got some other fucking sports news because yesterday was an absolute wild day in the world of sports. But Evo, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm a little tired. I've been a geographic bachelor over the weekend. So it's been a lot of broing down with myself, a little golf, a little bit of video games, some pizza rolls. I feel like I'm back in high school, but you know, I'm done with that. I'm ready to have female companionship again because I'm lonely. So right. It's nice to be here, have a little morning coffee, watching some football in Deutschland, and getting ready for some big games going on the rest of the day today. I mean, like you said, had some fun sports last night that we'll get into.
We will get into that for sure.
But I'm excited for a good day of football.
I'm very excited for today's day of football. I feel pretty good about most of my picks. I've actually done a little bit extra research this week because right now we're on fucking heaters. We got to keep that up for the people. I feel very good about where we're at in our rankings now. We did not get a great start to this week. However, we are both well over that 500 mark. We'll talk about that after we recap the Thursday game. But your boys are looking pretty fucking good right now. I like where we're at. I'm ready for this week. And, man, I got to tell you, this entire week has been pretty fucking sweet. I have had a phenomenal week. I kind of hate bragging, like when really badass shit goes on, but I'm going to humble brag a little bit here about myself. I had a professor sent me a scholarship opportunity. I applied for it. It's through the Cleveland Cavaliers and CAT. I was selected as a recipient. It's due to my military service. This weekend was Veterans Day, so shout out to all of our fellow veterans out there. Thank you for your service. But I was awarded a $5,000 scholarship from the Cavs. Gonna go and be awarded a big ass fake check apparently this upcoming Friday at the Cavs arena while they take on the Hornets.
Now, did you tell them your overall stature, your height, and everything?
I did not,
because then they need to shrink that check up a little bit so it doesn't just
it's gonna be way too fucking big for me to carry out of there. But yeah, so that's pretty fucking sweet. I am crushing school right now. I got all A's, firmly all A's, not those bullshit A minuses, because you know they do every 7 points as a goddamn letter grade now, which I do not enjoy. It's actually very frustrating. Like, man, a 90%, that should be an A. It's an A minus. Pisses me off. But so I've crushed it in school. I've got a scholarship, and then on the 23rd, I will be doing my first color commentary game call for the Cleveland State women's basketball team. I'm super, super fucking pumped for that. I'm going to be on, I guess, ESPN Plus was where those games are broadcast. So I'll be getting to do some color commentary, and that'll be the 23rd. So the nuts have been fucking swinging hard and heavy this week. All right. Do you seen that message from?
I am. So we're getting some notifications from our streaming service that Facebook is not wanting to play ball this morning. So
yeah, so Facebook is not happening. If you're trying to watch on Facebook, I apologize, guys. It is not going through. I'm going to pull that up right now and see.
I couldn't really see what was going on with it, but we'll figure it out regardless.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and throw it we are still we're out there on we're on YouTube right now for sure. We are on Twitter as well. I don't know what the fuck is happening with the Facebook. It is not going out. I was trying to find it so I could share it to a bunch of other people as well, but we could always just share the YouTube link to the Facebook. That way our Facebook watchers can get in there as well. Sorry about that, guys. Listen, technology is a motherfucker sometimes. This is not one thing that we can control, though. This is not on our end. This is on either Facebook or StreamYard.
Yeah. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, you have any sports stuff to share? Local sports going on out there in Ohio?
So the only local sports that I have is we were at that basketball game for Cleveland State women last night. They were doing the salute to service. And the girls fucking absolutely steamrolled Hofstra. It was really fun. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Now, obviously, I'm going to get ready to call some color commentary, but I'm starting to realize that women's basketball players are, I think, more well-rounded basketball players than the men. You get a little bit more specializing in the men, whereas the women, they're all about the same goddamn size. None of them are really dunking. Very few are or have the ability in all of college basketball. So you have to have a much more well-rounded game, and it's kind of something that I noticed yesterday watching the girls. So shout out to the girls. They started off their home schedule. That was their first home game. They were able to get a win. Congrats to the Cleveland State women's basketball team. I was the loud asshole behind the bench who was yelling, drinking a couple beers. Maybe had some vitamins, but yeah, I had a good time, man. That's the only thing I got for you sports wise. Graydon has started wrestling, but until we get a little deeper into that, we won't dive into the wrestling aspect my kids are doing. You got anything going on with you sports wise? How are your boys up in Minnesota doing?
Yeah, I'm not going to throw on the leotard just yet. But on Friday night, my Maple Grove Crimson football team, they did collect another win. This one a lot closer than the other ones, but they beat East Ridge High School 24-7. So they have one more game now before the championship. And they're going to be facing off against Lakeville South High School, who they are known year in, year out to be a good school. So we got a tough one coming up. Definitely before we get there to the championship. It looks like all the teams left, the final four here, all have won their games pretty handily. So it's going to be a pretty rough match, but obviously I don't know anything about the team other than they're my high school, but obviously going to be rooting them on from afar here in Arizona, and hopefully I'll just get one championship before I die.
That'd be awesome. I mean, I'm rooting for your boys. I like going back. The need to have a championship is so great that you're like, you know what? This high school football championship that I graduated from a long time ago, that one counts for me too. Like, there are some people who are starved for championships. Minnesota fans are one of them. Browns fans are one of them. We're going to talk about both of those teams this week. I actually get to talk about my fucking Browns because they're playing. Last week they were on a bye, but without anything else, you sports-wise, are we ready to start diving into some of the other shit that has happened this weekend in the world of sports before we start making our picks and shit?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's get into it.
All right. So let's go to college football. Yesterday, pretty important day for a lot of teams. Georgia goes out, absolutely dominates Mississippi State. Ohio State dominates Indiana. Michigan dominates Nebraska. TCU barely squeaks past number 18 Texas. And then we got Tennessee absolutely smacking Missouri. So this playoff race is going to start heating up a lot in the next couple of weeks for college football. TCU right now is in. I don't know if they will remain in, though. I feel like if Tennessee finishes out, runs the table the rest of the way, an SEC school may end up edging out TCU, and it's going to basically force the hand of, let's get these fucking expanded playoffs going quicker. We understand. I understand. Not everybody agrees with me, especially in my sports and entertainment management class. The NCAA is a fucking sham. They're about making their money. But even more than that, the college football playoff is the people who select this. These are the people who actually gain the money for college football as the CFP, and they're about their money. Tennessee will bring in more money than a TCU, I think, will. And it's SEC football. I feel like they would sell that. But there is some very interesting things that are going to happen with college football. Oregon, they're out. They lose to number 25, Washington. LSU barely squeaks past Arkansas. Bama gets past Ole Miss. I think Bama's done, though. They're down at 9. So college football is going to be very intense over the next couple of weeks. If TCU slips up at all, like they struggled yesterday, they only get a 7-point win against an opponent that I think people thought Texas had a chance. I don't know why. Texas is good, but they're not that good. TCU is a very good fucking football team.
Hey, they kept it within a touchdown, though, man. I mean,
yeah,
I would say they had that chance. TCU's the easier pick there, just the way that they've been playing this year. But to have it only be a 17-10 game, they were in it.
They were in it. They were absolutely in it. Sorry, I keep getting these fucking. I think that we just went live.
So I switched things around for anyone else that might be watching. For whatever reason, our Facebook group does not want to stream today, but the page is streaming it, and we made posts on all of our other Facebook. So
there we go.
Should be good to go.
Okay, all right, here we go. Now we're fucking cooking with gas. I get shit keep coming in about this stream. Wow, we're fucking talking about college football. You got anything else on college football? I mean, shit is going to heat up over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be very intense. TCU is going to have to go undefeated. And they might actually have to dominate some of these fucking teams if they're going to stay around in the playoffs. But you got anything else college football wise?
No, man. I'm still on that Hendon Hooker watch. You know, he went 25 to 35 yesterday, 355 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was, obviously just through the air. But this guy can run too. He got himself 8 rushes for 50 yards and a touchdown yesterday as well. Again, a little bit older quarterback. I believe he's 24 right now, which always is a bummer when you see that coming in the NFL because
there's a couple guys that are younger than him that are starters in the NFL now, and he is going to be coming in as a rookie. That is a tough sell.
Yep. Which I think that's going to be the biggest counterpoint to him going in the first round. But the way that he's performed this year has just been phenomenal. So he definitely could get late first round looks, definitely second round, because a team might be able to get a couple good years out of him before they have to move on. Either way, I really like the guy, and I'm just about to get into the heat of watching players here for their first round potential.
Yeah, it's coming down to the end of the season in college football, so we're going to have to start getting a little bit hot on the trail of the scouting reports and stuff like that. Guys that we like, guys that we don't like. But, all right, we'll move on from college football. We're going to bounce over to Major League Baseball real quick. There's not much here other than everybody on the fucking Yankees decided they're going to be free agents. That team is going to fucking stink next year. They're all free agents. Rizzo is a free agent. Judge is a free agent. I mean, they had lost guys before that. I love seeing the downfall of the Yankees. Now, I think that there's going to be some teams that are going to absolutely overspend this hot stove time of year. Judge is going to be the first piece that's going to matter, where Judge goes, and then everybody else will fall into place. We could see a deal get done fairly early into the offseason. Major League Baseball, they don't typically wait very long before free agency starts picking up. Winter meetings should be happening very soon as well. So you're going to see a lot of things coming up about baseball, where people are going, and it's going to go very, very fast. And there's going to be a whole new goddamn Yankees team next year because everybody on that team had elected to go to free agency. Your boy, Carlos Correa, also opts out of his contract. He's going to free agency. Do you guys want him back? Does he want to go back?
From the stuff that I saw earlier this year, he's open to coming back, but it sounds like a lot of that political talk of like, of course, yeah, I'd love to come back, but whoever wants to pay me the most,
right,
type thing. So, was he worth the money? I mean, obviously, we didn't, make it to the postseason.
Yeah, don't make the postseason.
I think it probably could be spent elsewhere if the team can figure out what to do there. But that's the thing is I don't necessarily trust. Like we normally are able to bring in rookies and stuff like that and develop pretty well, and then after that we aren't able to keep guys, and we don't do a whole lot in free agency that as far as big signings or anything. So,
well, you got a young guy. Was it Royce Lewis, right? That is slotted in to come in and take that shortstop position.
I mean, Royce has been there for a while. We've had several good prospects lately that have ended up just constantly getting injured. So it's a little bit rough there. But I mean, God, I can't think of the guy's name that just won our batting title. Luis Arias.
Arias is great.
He's the younger guy that really showed up this year. We Buxton and things like that we've kept in house and developed. But it's just been the injury bug that's really bitten us. So I don't know. I personally am fine with moving on from Correa. Not that he's not a good player, but I think that we can use the money elsewhere and keep some of our homegrown talent happy.
All right. I got nothing else on baseball. You?
Just one thing. I don't know if you didn't want to bring it up or not, but MLB Executive of the Year, Chris Antonetti.
Yeah, I mean,
your guy.
He's really good. I mean, this is an award that I expect him to. I think he's won it like 2 or 3 times before this as well. He's really good at this. He figures out how to find guys that are good and pay them almost no money. Like that is our MO. Congratulations, Chris Antonetti. But like this is something I expect being a very successful small market team. Like your head guys know how to find a value, and he's been able to do that. So that's not a surprise to me, considering how fucking bad everybody thought we were going to be, and then ended up being really goddamn good. So congrats, Chris Antonetti.
Yep. But yeah, with that, I'm good with baseball. I think we can move on to the real fun that happened last night.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about it. Yes.
So we had UFC 281, which was a big card headed by Adesanya and Pereira. But overall, that entire main card, I watched it. It was pretty phenomenal. Starting off, and I know you didn't really get to watch it, but I did
go back, check out some clips because needed to, especially the Pereira fucking putting Izzy down. We'll get there. Super pumped about that. Go ahead.
But I watched last night. I started tuning in right at the end of the first round of Dan Hooker and Claudio Puelles. I wrote down the actual spelling of this guy's name, Puelles.
Okay.
But yeah, I completely legal means to watch that last night. And so while I was watching, Dan Hooker just absolutely dominating him, looked phenomenal. Ended up ending in round 2 due to TKO, due to a kick to the chest that he just didn't want to get up from. And it was like the third one where he kept on kicking him in the chest. Puelles really wanted to get it to the ground. So anytime that he took any sort of contact, he would just kind of like fall on his butt and get in the stance ready to catch.
Come on.
And Dan just kept on being like, get the fuck up, dude. Get up.
Like,
and then he'd get up and he'd start beating the fuck out of him, kicking him in the chest, kicking him in the kidneys and the liver. And then the guy would just fall down and be like, I'm ready. Come here. And he's like, nah, I'm not playing your game. So Dan Hooker completely dominated. We move on to Frankie.
The second guy ever to finish a fight with body strikes.
Yeah. I mean, in the UFC, obviously that's.
Yeah.
But
plenty of other.
Yeah. Next up, we had Frankie Edgar and Chris Gutierrez. Gutierrez won via a TKO and knee to the head, and
retire, buddy.
that's where I was at in that, is that Frankie Edgar just didn't look nearly as fast. You can really see that his age is caught up. Gutierrez looked real good, but it's tough to say when he was going up against Frankie Edgar, who just, it definitely seemed outmatched at that point. In all respect,
a guy who
Frankie
perpetually could not be put down or knocked out. It has happened to him like 3 times in his last 4 fights.
Yeah.
It's time to hang it up, man. You are a fucking Hall of Famer. Hang it up. Enjoy your family.
And like I said, all respect to Frankie, but it's time to call it. And it kind of looked like he had that look on his face where he's like, man, this is the new norm. I gotta be out. And then we move on to, I mean, maybe my most favorite fight of the night.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. 2 guys that love to brawl, and it was a fucking war from the get-go. It was awesome. So Chandler comes out striking hard. Poirier comes out striking hard. It is pretty even through most of the beginning rounds, and Chandler just started turning it on, even though he got his nose opened wide up, bleeding all over the place. Chandler looked real good and looked like he had the upper hand on Poirier right up until the end. Poirier ended up getting him in a rear naked choke and getting Chandler to tap. This is a fight. As I was watching it, I was hooting and hollering, and I was excited. I was like, I want to see this again. This was back to brutal UFC. Great fucking fight.
Right. And that's something that we talked about a little bit before the show, is that both of those guys are really good fucking fighters, right? We know that. Michael Chandler is a guy who I think he's a gatekeeper. Like, I don't think when he got there, he contended for a title immediately, right? It was very exciting. And then he's kind of had other chances, but he's always fighting top competition, and it's always an absolute fucking war, and it's incredibly exciting. I don't know that he will ever compete for a title, but he's going to be the guy that, if you want to compete for a title, you got to prove you can get past this crazy motherfucker who will absolutely go to war with everybody he steps inside the octagon with.
Yeah, it was easily a classic right off the get-go. I want to see them go at it again. I don't know if or when we'll get to see that, but it was a hell of a fight. Then we move on to the women, Carla Esparza versus Weili Zhang. Yeah, Zhang Weili. I don't know how you say her name. All I know is that she looks like she's got the shoulders of a dude, and I don't know what they're pumping full of her in China, but Weili just, every time I've seen her fight, she has always looked extremely dangerous, like easily could take every fight that I've seen her in. And I think I've probably seen maybe 2 out of her 3, if not all 3 of her losses. And every time it's kind of like you can take a breath when she loses, because you think that she's going to win the way that she's fighting the whole time. And that's what it was yesterday versus Carla Esparza. She looked like she had slightly the upper hand through most of the entire fight, and it ended up coming down to a rear naked choke there in the second round, pretty easily. Like, Carla had the wrist locked down, didn't really have to worry about being choked out, and then just Weili was able to just get that wrist free, and the choke was in, and it was done after that.
Zhang Weili is a very good fighter. This sets up another Rose Zhang Weili fight. I mean, that's exactly what this does.
Yeah.
And I think the UFC is very excited about that.
I would be if I was the UFC, but if I'm Rose, I'm a little scared. She's got to come in. I mean, she always comes in hot.
She lost last time because she tried to play it safe. That's not the typical Rose Namajunas we see, who tried to play it safe and not take any damage from Carla Esparza. She ends up losing her belt. Zhang Weili dominates. Like, she's going to go. That's exactly what we want. We want to see a bounce back.
Before. We've seen her against Weili before. That's I believe where she got her title from.
Yeah.
And that was a fucking battle. That was one of those where it's like, when Rose won, I could finally breathe. I was like, all right, she got it. This is going to be a tough one when we see that, but I think that is definitely in the cards coming up here pretty soon. And then that takes us to our main event. You have Stylebender Adesanya, and he finally goes down against Alex Pereira.
Finally, dude.
And we talked about this. Talked about this before the show. Pereira looked very big. He looked like a light heavyweight in the ring with Adesanya. Apparently, he cut down, for weight, but after that, ends up putting, getting the fluids, rehydrating and stuff like that.
20
and he
pounds,
probably went up at
probably?
least 20 pounds. And so first round, Adesanya takes not relatively easily, but definitely gets the majority of the strikes in and everything. Looks pretty good. Next round, Pereira comes out and clips Adesanya a bunch and probably takes round 2. But then that takes us to the third, and Adesanya has his first ever takedown in the UFC, and actually doesn't look like he's got a great ground game, but in comparison,
has a little bit more than Pereira does.
Definitely, and was controlling him. And after that, Pereira, he just kind of had a scared look on his face. He looked tired, looked out of it. Adesanya easily took the next round, and it came down to that 5th round when Pereira's back was basically against the wall. You got to do something. And Pereira
rolls it out.
Bam, bam, bam. Gets a couple really great hits on Adesanya. Gets him dazed to the point that Adesanya, you can tell he's wobbly, and they got to call it with a TKO. So Adesanya loses the belt, going down to Pereira. This guy he's lost to 3 times now, once in the UFC, but twice before.
I was going to say, so I saw a lot of things on Twitter that Pereira is the greatest player hater of all time. He basically kicked Izzy's ass out of kickboxing and then chased him down once he had all the success in the UFC. And he's like, you know what? No, fuck that. You don't get to have any more fucking fun. I'm going to take this shit over. It's wild that 3 times that he has beaten him. And I kind of expected it. I thought it would be, I don't know if it went exactly the way I expected, but I did expect Pereira to win. He's got his number. He's also a massive, massive fucking hitter. We talked about he gains a shitload of weight after he weighs in. He gained 20 fucking pounds. But probably, I mean, we don't know that for sure, but he looks like he gained at least 20 pounds. And then he throws absolute nukes. And then Izzy's not a huge guy. Like the size we saw can give Izzy problems when he moved up to light heavyweight. I thought Pereira was going to win. I know a lot of people expected Adesanya because he's so technically sound to do it, but I'm pumped. Izzy's boring. He's been boring. I think this will light a fire under his ass. Maybe he'll become a more exciting fighter again, like he was when he first kind of burst on the scene. And he was absolutely destroying people. But yeah, I'm pumped that Pereira won, and I cannot wait to go into my acting class tomorrow and talk all sorts of shit to some people that were big on Izzy winning this fight.
Very nice. Well, I mean, like I said, I thought Adesanya was going to win just because he has been so technically sound. I know you say it's boring, but I mean, he hasn't faced that sort of real competition yet other than going outside of his weight class. Pereira definitely looked outside of his weight class, and Adesanya held his own for,
he was winning. He's up on the cards probably there.
Yeah, definitely. Just this is how it comes down in fighting. Sometimes you can get clipped and you can't recover from it, and that's basically where it came down to with the Stylebender. So I'm sure that's a rematch that we'll be seeing not too long in the future.
That's an immediate rematch. Champ who's held the belt for such a long time loses. He gets to run it back, and they'll basically say, okay, when are we doing this? At what point? You guys got somewhere between 4 and 6 months, and then we're fucking doing this again.
Yep. But with that, you ready to move on to some football? We got just about an hour and a half before games start here, so we got to get them picks in.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's recap Thursday night real quick. It was kind of a shit show. It wasn't great. Both of us were on the Falcons, and we weren't even close. Line was 2.5, right? I believe is what it was. I was trying to write down our picks here. It's somewhere in our text messages. Let's see here.
Somewhere around all those bets that you keep making that just
I know they just are not fucking hitting at all. It has not been great. My bets. I mean, my picks have been really fucking good. We'll get to those in just a minute while we're done recapping this. Well, it doesn't really matter. We fucking lost it anyways. I said I'm pretty sure it was 2.5. Falcons minus 2.5 is what I had. I had them on a cover. Thought they'd win by 7. You had them on the money line, and Carolina fucking did whatever they wanted. Now, bad weather game that did not help, but at the same time, I felt like it should have helped the Falcons, who are a better running team, or what we thought was a better running team. And then the Panthers absolutely ball out, play fantastic defense, and yeah, the Falcons couldn't get shit going on offense. I thought Al Grier, is that how you say it?
Algier.
Is it Algier? Okay, that's what it was.
Algier.
Algier. And then Cordell Patterson getting back. I thought, man, this is going to be a great combo. They're going to be able to do some shit, and they could not do anything. Marcus Mariota still does not inspire me as a passer. At a certain point, I think they got to make a change. I don't know when it'll be if they lose a couple more, but Marcus I don't know if he makes that team any better outside of what the running game can do for them already. That just didn't show up for Thursday night.
Yeah, that's you. I don't know what to think about the Panthers now because they are so scrappy. They are that team that has a roster full of players that are fighting for their future careers beyond this year, and it works for them. I mean, we've seen them hang in games these past couple weeks that they shouldn't necessarily be in, minus one of them, and they've come out with wins in some of these. Their play has definitely been surprising, especially after offloading talent like McCaffrey and whatnot. They're a scrappy team, man. And I expected the Falcons to at least keep it close, not, a 10-point spread like this, because they have been covering their spreads and stuff like that, constantly staying within the number real close. So it was definitely a surprise. And it's tough to get a read on this Panthers team now going forward, just because they aren't playing as bad as they were in the beginning of the year.
Does PJ Walker make them better, or is it the change of the head coach? Like, why is this team performing so much better than they were before when they had way more talent?
It ain't the coach. I do think that it's a very, very different dynamic when you don't have McCaffrey there, when you are playing a PJ Walker, because teams don't know exactly what they're getting into. PJ Walker's a wild card, and this team has become more balanced because he's a wild card, and they are not going to be forcing the ball through Christian McCaffrey as much. It's more of a standard traditional type of game that's coming from them with Donta Foreman. It's just a weird team, man. It's a weird team.
Yeah, well, the Panthers, thankfully, we don't have to pick them again this week and figure out that bullshit, but they're going to be a tough team to get a read on. They're playing better when I don't think they should be. The Falcons also, a hard team to read, man. Like, they typically play everybody really fucking close. This game, they did not play them close. They could not run the ball. Basically, everything that we thought about the Vikings and who they were as a team did not fucking show up this week at all. So that was tough. But we'll move on from that game. I'm going to go ahead and share these picks on kind of how we're doing. Share screen. Boom. How's that look?
Looks good, man. Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so last week I went 9-3-1. Eva went 10-3. Another fucking great weekend. We both missed on Miami. You missed on the Panthers. I mean, Bengals were absolutely insane last week. I don't think I needed him, but Joe Mixon absolutely helped me dominate your ass in fantasy football last week. That was fun. 55 goddamn points is insane.
I mean, you put up a stupid amount of points, possibly the most scored in any given week of the league. So I didn't really have a chance with that. I had an okay week. But
I don't even think I needed Mixon last week to beat you because I scored so many goddamn points.
It was close. Because I put up like 130 or something like that, and you had like 180. So it was 55 points. Definitely made a difference.
Okay, I guess you did. I did need a little bit of them, but yeah.
Either way, congrats on your win.
I needed it on a fucking heater in fantasy football. 3 wins in a row. I'm on a heater in fucking our picks. I think I've been 75% or better over the last 3 weeks. Now, we're not off to a great start. Falcons, we both missed. Seattle, it does not look like it is going in our direction at this time.
Yeah, it is currently 14-3 Buccaneers Seahawks, which I don't have the game up here because I'm not next to like a TV that has like NFL on it or whatever. I would have to be doing something illegal to watch that. And of course, we don't do any of that illegal streaming here.
No, never. No, absolutely. I would never steal from somebody who works so hard like a Dana White. And obviously compensates all of the guys the exact amount of money they should be paid. So I would never take from them, and but yeah, I'm ready.
Either way, it's not looking great right now. It looks like we are just ending quarter 3, about to go into quarter 4 with the Bucs up 14-3. Julio Jones scores the first ever professional touchdown in Germany to start that scoring off for the Buccaneers. Yeah, man, we both got Seattle on this one. The Bucs haven't.
It ain't going well, but
I guess with those Europe trips, you just never know truly how it's going to turn out because
and they had a lot of travel. That's something that we talked about in our analysis when we put it out on Facebook last night. Is the travel from fucking Seattle to Germany as compared from Tampa to Germany is drastically different. That is a lot more fucking travel, and that will wear on the body. Seattle has to travel a lot as it is, being they're, I think, the farthest west team that they have in the NFL. So,
yeah, if we aren't even counting the games going outside of the U.S., they travel the most mileage pretty much every year. So it's rough living out there on the West Coast.
Yeah, but last week, great week. The fucking Bills screwed everybody. That was the instant parlay killer last week. I had Bills minus 11. You had them on the money line. Neither one. I mean, minus 11 never got fucking close.
I mean, they lost to the Jets.
They lost to the goddamn Jets. The goddamn Jets. It was tough to watch, man. Josh did not look great. He is banged up. He hurt his elbow again. You know who also didn't look great? Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson didn't win that game at all. The fucking defense won that game. I don't care that Zach Wilson just beat Josh Allen because Zach Wilson didn't beat Josh Allen. Zach Wilson didn't play good at all. The defense, that Jets defense led by Robert Salah, played fantastic fucking football, and they came out and they were able to get a win. So,
all right, man. Well, we got an hour and 20 minutes. Let's get into some of these picks.
Let's start getting into these picks.
All right. So this week we got 4 teams on bye. The Bengals, Patriots, Jets, and Ravens are all on a bye. But we will start off with the Lions and the Bears being played in Chicago. The line is currently Chicago -3 and an over-under of 48.5. Weather looks like it's going to be good there. A little chilly at 46 degrees. Who you got in this one, Mike?
So the Bears are getting better. Oh, God damn it. I just fucking mind farted real bad. Chase Claypool, I think, is going to become a bigger part of that offense. I think that's going to open up Mooney a little bit more. And Justin Fields is being much more efficient with the times that he's using his legs. He's had quite a few rushing yards over the last couple games. He's going to have a little bit more offensive weapons. The Lions are scrappy, right? We know that they knocked off the Packers last week. But I'm kind of feeling this Bears team right now. I think Justin Fields is starting to kind of come into his own. So I'm going to ride with the Bears here on the money line. I do not think that they are good enough to cover 3 points against the Lions, who are a very fucking scrappy football team. But I do think that they can get a decent offense going and be able to win this game.
Well, it is a home game for the Bears, which just helped them out, and the Lions team did beat the Packers last week, so I love that about the Lions. But a couple other little statistical points here. Justin Fields has the second most quarterback rushing yards in the league this year per game on average at 66.9 yards per game, and that's second to only Lamar Jackson, which is pretty good. I mean, it shows that he's running quarterback and maybe that they're having to run the ball more because they don't have a whole lot of receiving options there, even with Claypool being in-house. Detroit is 0-11-1 on the road under Dan Campbell. So Dan Campbell has not won a road game in his career as a head coach for the Detroit Lions. So that's not a good look for old Motor City Dan Campbell there. Chicago is the first team since 1976 or since the 1976 Steelers to put up 230 or more rushing yards per game in 4 straight games. So they're winning these games by doing old school black and blue, pound the ball on the ground type of football. And that, again, makes sense because they don't have much of a passing attack. And then Jared Goff on the road with Detroit. He has thrown 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in his career with Detroit. Versus at home, he has 26 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He just doesn't play well on the road for them. Dan Campbell does not win games on the road with Detroit. Everything's pointing towards Chicago winning this game. And I absolutely think Chicago's going to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and say that Detroit feels themselves and they're going to cover. So I'm going to take Detroit +3 after getting that win against NFC North.
You gave me a lot of stats suggesting Bears, and then you're going to flip on me.
Hey, I will take the L on this one. I just got to give the props to Detroit for beating the Packers last week. I love it.
So you're going to back up the hype from last week.
Oh, yeah. Dan Campbell, after the game, he said, "I'm tired. I need a beer." And he probably got those beers in and got right back to work. And he's going to be firing that locker room up, being like, "These guys were always the kings in the North and stuff like that. And you went out there and put 3 picks on Aaron Rodgers. This is Justin Fields. All he does is run around with the ball. Go fuck him up." He'll get them motivated. I think that they'll keep this close. It's a divisional matchup. They always stay pretty close. I wish this was more like, I know 2.5 plus 2.5 would be less points, but if it was 2.5, I feel like it would be a better odds for me. I feel like we're looking at a potential push here, but I'm going with the Lions plus the points on this one.
Lions plus the points. I'm gonna go with the fucking Bears on the money line. Both of them could hit. I'm surprised. I didn't think that you were gonna flip and go Lions there with the points. I thought you were gonna follow me down the Bears money line road, but
so I like seeing the bottom of the NFC North, basically everyone other than the Vikings. I want to see them all around the same record.
Just fucking gut themselves completely.
Detroit winning this one actually evens things out pretty nicely down there on the bottom, so I'll take it. All right, next game up, we got the Broncos and the Titans being played in Nashville. The line is Tennessee -2.5, over under of 39. Some quick stats here for this one. Where are we at?
Some quick stats for this one. The Broncos fucking stink.
Yeah. So the Broncos games average 31.6 points per year. That's both teams. That's your over-under type.
Terrible. It's so hard to watch this fucking team, and there's 4 more primetime games with these assholes.
That's the worst in the NFL. The Titans are 6th worst at 38.3 total points per game. And that, again, that is them and the team that they're playing. What does this mean? It means that both teams have shitty offenses and both teams have pretty damn good defenses. Consider taking the under on this one if you're trying to bet something other than just the line.
39 though, man. That's so fucking low.
It is, but like I said, the Titans averaging 38.3 points per game, the Broncos 31.6. Both teams, again, kind of devoid of offense. The only thing that's really picking up is that Titans run game. Derrick Henry himself has been putting the team on his back, and he's about to herniate something because he's carrying that whole franchise right now, other than their defense.
I think they get Tannehill back this week, though.
They should, yes. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. It doesn't matter. Tannehill's back. He's got Robert Woods to throw to, and who else? So
Traylon Burks, he's really good. Remember when everybody was telling us that during the draft process?
Yeah, he did just get activated off of the IR. Traylon Burks said, "I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference." I'm taking Tennessee -2.5 points here, though. I don't see the Broncos keeping it close, especially not when they're playing away. Yes, the Broncos just coming off of a bye here, I believe. But I don't. Or maybe not off of a bye. I don't remember. Either way, it seems like a bye because they're a snoozer team. I'm taking Tennessee -2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow the same fucking train. I'm gonna actually step out a little bit more this week since I'm on a heater. I'm gonna take a couple more tougher bets. I should just go Tennessee money line. I expect them to cover though. 2.5 is fucking nothing. I feel like Tennessee is a far superior team in basically every aspect. The Broncos just traded away their best pass rusher. They're not getting better on that team. I don't know what they're trying to do, but they just traded away one of the premier young pass rushers in the NFL. I don't get what they're trying to do. 2.5 is not enough. Derrick Henry is a fucking animal over the last couple of weeks. He is the second best running back in the NFL. He said so himself. He actually put Nick Chubb up. Appreciate that, big dog. But yeah, they're going to be way better. And this is going to be a slow, boring ass game with 35 Derrick Henry carries.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of running.
Yeah.
A lot of running. All right, next game, we got the Jaguars and the Chiefs being played in Kansas City. Kansas City is favored -9.5 points, over under of 51.5. Some stats for this game. Travis Etienne is gaining 125.8 scrimmage yards per game since week 5. So that's basically when he completely took over. He also has 4 touchdowns in that time span. He's putting up a lot of good yards for that Jacksonville team. The Chiefs, they are number 1 in points per game with 30.4 points per game, second in yards per game with 415.3 yards, and they are first in passing with 311.8 yards per game. That offense is rolling. They are putting up big time numbers. The Chiefs have won 23 straight games in the months of November and December, which is the longest streak in the NFL since the merger. Jacksonville actually has lost 20 of their last 21 road games, and Kansas City is 0-4 against the spread at home this season. All this leading me to say Chiefs absolutely going to win. This would be one hell of a trap game. But at 9.5 points, I never take a team to lay it. I'm going to take the Jaguars plus the 9.5 points. I'm going ballsy this week because they do play pretty scrappy. I feel like this is Vegas betting everyone to take the Chiefs on this. I'm going to go ahead and take the Jags plus the points.
Oh man, so that surprised me. I fully expect Kansas City to win this game. There's nothing in my mind that tells me they're not going to win this game. 9.5 is too many though, right? Like it feels like it's too much.
I absolutely should be taking the money line here.
I should be. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe. I'm going to go Kansas City money line. They're a far superior team. The Jags they're not great. They surprise people every once in a while. It ain't this week. Chiefs money line.
All right. Maybe the Chiefs were sleeping on them because they're thinking it's the Jaguars of old or something like that. Who knows?
Maybe. Listen, they could easily cover. Remember, the Chiefs perpetually don't cover.
I mean, the Jets are a better team, but the Jets beat the Bills last week, so anything can happen. Anything can happen in this NFL.
Yeah, especially with as low scoring as the games have been. The points are way down this year.
Yeah. All right, next up we have the Texans and the Giants being played in New Jersey. Line is Giants -5, over under of 41. Houston is 4-1 against the spread as an underdog of 6 or more points this year. So this is actually kind of promoting them to possibly keep this game a little bit closer. Davis Mills, he is only one of 3 quarterbacks since the merger to be an underdog in his first 20 career starts of his career. Not doing well for him. Do you have any idea or any guesses as to who the other 2 quarterbacks might be that were underdogs in their first 20 career starts?
Do you have the answers there?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go with
one of them. Here's
another Texans quarterback.
Nope. Here's a hint for you. It's someone that you might be familiar with.
Oh fuck.
I mean, you're going to be familiar with all these people, but no,
Colt
not
McCoy.
Colt McCoy.
Brady Quinn.
Warmer, kind of. You're definitely in the right team.
Not Johnny, is it? Johnny
Take it
Manziel?
back a little bit.
Take it back?
Yeah.
Tim Couch?
Yeah, Tim Couch. All right, Tim Couch is one of them. The other one, a little bit more surprising to me, Troy Aikman.
The Cowboys were pretty fucking terrible in the 80s. And then went on a massive run in the 90s.
Yeah. So that stat is one of 3 quarterbacks is Davis Mills to be an underdog in their first 20 career starts. Tim Couch and Troy Aikman joining.
I was thinking Carr, not
Derek Carr from the Texans,
Derek Carr.
or David Carr.
David Carr, whichever the fucking one came first. I was like, he's got to be on that list, but apparently not.
Apparently not. All right. Either way, the Giants are favored by 5 points in this one. Giants have been a pretty goddamn good team. Surprising people a lot. This is a team that they're coming off of a bye week. Giants did come off a bye. Saquon has been running the ball hard as fuck. The news came out about him this week, actually I believe yesterday, saying that, hey, we're going to table talks for the contract, focus on the rest of the season, which is perfectly fine by me. The Texans allow a lot of rushing yards. I mean, we've seen Derrick Henry this year put up over 200 against them. Saquon absolutely can do that, even though I think the Giants have a little bit more of a diverse passing attack, and that's crazy to say with Daniel Jones at the helm and the lack of receivers that they have than the Titans do. So we'll see them mix it up a little bit. They do play games a lot closer, though, than the 5-point spread here. I am very tempted to take Giants -5, but I'm just going to go ahead and be safe, take Giants money line on this one, because the Texans have seemed to remain a little scrappy here and there, and keeping things a little bit close with teams that they shouldn't, despite being 1-6-1 this year. So it is going to be Giants money line for me.
Okay. Sorry, I got people asking what the color coordination on our picks are. Guys, green is good, red is bad, like basically all things in life. And if you have not been watching, guys, I will pull that up at the end. I'll show everybody our picks again before the game start. That way, if you want to place any of these bets, you can do so. But all right, so getting to this game, Giants are really good. Houston is not very good. You said the spread was 5, though. Is that updated? Because what I'm looking at, I got Caesars at -4.5.
This is whatever's on ESPN right now, and I know that they usually source from Caesars. Maybe ESPN isn't up to date.
Okay, well, because I'm looking at CBS and it shows the Caesars lines. So do you want to go 4.5, or do you want to go 5? I guess we could look it up on the app real quick and see what is actually playing.
I'll pull it up on the app real quick. I'm able to confirm my location.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to matter to me if it's 4.5 or 5. I think the Giants are really fucking good. Dable is a stud, and the Texans can't stop the run. Now, they do a really good job of running the ball themselves. They showed that against Philly, and they can maybe shorten this game. But I'm going to kind of step out on a limb again. I'm going to try to hit some bigger money bets. The money line is an easy bet right here on the Giants for me, but I'm actually going to take them to cover. I'm going to go Giants minus, well, what is it?
It's -5 on the app.
-5. I'm going to take Giants -5. And you said Giants money line?
Yeah. Giants money line for me. All right. Next up, we have the Saints and the Steelers being played in Pittsburgh. This is Steelers team coming off a bye and the Saints on a short week here. Pittsburgh is favored in this one, surprisingly.
See, I'm looking at a pick'em.
Yeah, they earlier in the week, the Saints were favored, I believe, by 2.5 points. But
the current line, the live line that I'm looking at on Caesars right this second is Steelers -1.
Yes, and it looks like ESPN is updated with the Caesars stuff as of right now, because it is Steelers -1 on the website. Okay. Over under of 39. Again, this is a Steelers team that's coming off of a bye week, and they are at home versus the Saints, who are on a short week. And a Saints team that their defense has definitely been playing better. But I don't really know what their identity is on offense. I mean, they looked kind of terrible against the Ravens last week. Do we take the Steelers to actually win one here?
I am. Because of the rest. They should also be getting TJ Watt back. Now, getting TJ Watt back is a huge boost to this team, but in a reverse move, something that goes not the Steelers' way, they lose Minkah Fitzpatrick for several weeks. That's going to be a big factor. Andy Dalton has played well enough to win some games. He's also played bad enough to lose games. multiple pick sixes, and they're on a short week. I got Mike Tomlin. I got a pretty goddamn good defense, getting their best pass rusher back, coming off of a bye. I don't have anything else nice to say about the Steelers and why they should win this game, but I think rest, preparation, and getting your best pass rusher back makes the difference. I got to go Pittsburgh on the money line.
I think that the bye week is also going to help them out because Pickett now has played several games as a starter. They're able to sit back, do self-scout, kind of hopefully correct some issues that he's possibly had. And then you also have potentially an addition by subtraction. Claypool gets traded away. Now George Pickens is firmly in that starting lineup instead of potentially being the number 2, number 3 guy. And I think that this is going to be a big game for Pickens, so much so that I moved Gabe Davis out of my lineup in fantasy and put Pickens in as one of my starters. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm going to go. I also
feel like it's because you don't want to root for Gabe Davis in that game because that's a game we have not covered yet.
We haven't. I'll say this about Gabe Davis. I really thought he was going to have a blow up year this year, and it's been somewhat mundane. He's the deep threat guy. He gets 2-3 catches a game, maybe, and one of those might go for 40 yards and a touchdown, and that's really what you're looking for week to week. But it hasn't been something that has been consistent and replicated. Absolutely could happen this week, assuming that Josh Allen's arm is good. I know it's good enough to start, but whether or not he's going to really be able to sling it that well. But for me, I think Pickens is going to see way more targets. I think Pickens is going to see way more targets this week because he's been seeing consistently around 5-6 targets a week. And now where he's starting in that lineup, you're probably going to see that jump up closer to 8 targets. And to me, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm going to take the money line here. I'm not going to try to give anything up here and lay any points with the Steelers -1 just because it is the Steelers, and the Saints have played tough against some really good teams this year. I just feel like they're kind of on the downs right now. Again, offensive identity, I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Steelers in this one, and I feel really surprised to say that. Like something in my heart tells me it's like, why aren't you picking the Saints as the Steelers here? But that long rest for the Steelers, short week for the Saints. Saints having to travel. I'm going to go ahead and take Steelers in this one.
Yeah. All right. Same thoughts there. Go ahead. What's the next one, man?
All right, next up, we have the Colts and the Raiders being played in Las Vegas. The line is currently Vegas -4, over under of 41. This is the NFL coaching debut for Jeff Saturday. Super wild what happened there.
Do we want to talk about that a little bit before we?
I mean, I guess we kind of have to. Mm-hmm. So Irsay comes out and fires the head coach, Frank Reich. Who I like Frank Reich. I think that he's a damn good coach.
Did you watch the Thursday night game where they made a comment that Frank Reich was just never able to figure out that quarterback position? None of that was Frank Reich's fault at all.
He's been in there with Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan.
Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Sam Ehlinger, Phillip Rivers, and then Jacoby Brissett, because he walked into a situation that saw Andrew Luck retired 2 weeks before the fucking season started. None of that's on him.
I think what really this boils down to is Frank Reich is a Carson Wentz guy, probably from his time in Philly.
You think that he probably banged for Carson?
I think he might have. And if that's the case, then that guy shouldn't be a head coach.
Yeah.
But look, I like Frank Reich. He's been a good coach for this team. They've made a lot of positive moves. This year is insane for them. That like the talent that they had in that team, just injuries. The O-line that has been a stalwart offensive line does not look like that at all anymore. A lot due to injuries. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Frank Reich ended up being the scapegoat for this. And I feel like Irsay, he is kind of that wild card owner, and it's what have you done for me recently? So that's why he was willing to make this move. And it goes to show that he's a wild card owner because he ends up putting in a first time ever head coach in the NFL. Yes, Saturday is coached in high school. It ain't the fucking same. When
never coached in the NFL at any fucking capacity either.
Yeah. On that team, you've got John Fox, you've got Gus Bradley, you've got former head coaches on that team, and you bring in just a former offensive lineman who you had on the books as a consultant. And Saturday was sitting at home tweeting for ESPN. And mind you, Jeff Saturday on October 30th, watching the Raiders Saints game, tweeted, Raiders look horrible. Well, guess what? First match as a head coach in the NFL, you are going up against the Raiders this week.
Yeah.
So we'll see how horrible they are, Jeff Saturday. And I like Jeff Saturday.
I like Jeff Saturday too, but
he's out of his element.
This is disrespectful, right?
Yes.
To a lot of people in the NFL, a lot of guys that work their ass off to get head coaching spots, guys that are in that organization already who are coaches that have been head coaches before are looking to move into a head coach's role for the very first time. It's a little disrespectful. I don't understand the move. However, I'm going to pick the complete opposite thing this week. The Raiders fucking stink. They're so bad, especially late in games. They had a big fucking lead again last week, 17 points, and they blew another 17-point lead.
Yep, it's their third 17-point lead that they have blown this year, which is tied for the most in the NFL ever.
They're super bad late in games. We talked about this a little earlier. They are definitely going to have a coaching change. I don't know if it will come in season, but I do think it is coming at the end of the season. This team is drastically underperformed. They were up big. Devontae Adams was having a fucking day, and they blow it. And I think Jeff Saturday is going to come out, and we're going to have to talk about this again for another week because he's going to shut everybody the fuck up. He's going to come out, and they're going to win. The Colts are going to win. I'm taking the Colts money line in a upset. They are plus 175 right now. I'm taking them to win. Sam Ehlinger gets his first win. We're going to have to talk about this shit because why wouldn't we talk about the Colts in this asinine situation that Jeff Irsay put everybody in?
I would like to see them win. I don't think they're going to win a game this entire year with Saturday as the head coach, quite honestly. I'm just going to take the Raiders money line. I feel like that's a safe bet until we see what the fuck is going on there. Maybe this 30-year-old guy that they got coming in calling plays, he was some assistant to the assistant. Maybe he knows
to the general manager fucking calling plays now.
Yeah, it's a weird situation there for the Colts. They are not tanking according to Irsay, but man, if this doesn't seem like a tank move to bring in someone with no experience and try to run the job, I feel like the safe play has to be the Raiders because we have seen them put up big points this year. The 3 times that they've had 17-point leads, and if they are just able to do that and somewhat maintain, maybe they get something out of it. Yeah, I'm just going to take the money line Raiders on this one and call it a day.
I'm going to step out and take the crazy storyline. This is a dangerous pick. This is an upset pick, guys. So, bet with your head, not your heart. I'm making this pick with my heart because I think it's going to be hilarious that we're going to have to talk about this. Jeff Saturday shuts up all the haters for at least 1 week. But I do think that they're fucking tanking.
Yeah.
Even though Irsay will never say it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Cowboys and the Packers being played in Green Bay. Dallas is favored now, minus 3.5. They were favored more before. Over under a 44.5. So in Aaron Rodgers' career versus Dallas, he is 7-2 straight up, 6-3 against the spread. He has a 16-2 touchdown to interception ratio and 101.8 passer rating on average.
So he owns the Cowboys.
I mean, if we look at Aaron Rodgers' career statistically, he has generally owned most teams that he plays. That's why people like to pair it around that he's the next GOAT in line to Tom Brady and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is that the Packers have a ton of injuries. They lost Rashawn Gary for the year. Sounds like Stokes, their cornerback, is going to be out for the rest of the season. Dobbs not playing. Devondre Campbell's not playing. That offensive line is absolutely fucking terrible. Aaron put up 3 picks last week versus the worst defense in the NFL and the Lions.
Bad fucking picks. One, he never should have thrown back across his body to the opposite side of the field. I don't know what the fuck Aaron was thinking. And then the other one, he threw off the back of his lineman's goddamn head, which is all on Aaron. And
I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, why are you all playing so bad? This isn't me. And this isn't me just bullshitting. This is the stuff that he has said out loud to Pat McAfee, to the reporters after the games. Guess who's not taking blame? Aaron fucking Rodgers.
Yeah.
Because it's never his fault. He's got a holier than thou attitude. He's looking over. You can just see it in his face. And there's so much hate articles out there right now on Aaron Rodgers, and I fucking love it. It's constant Viagra for me. You hear all the pundits talking. Just look at his demeanor on the field. Look at his attitude. He always looks over at LaFleur like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you making me lose? There's a big storyline going on right now that he's not even running LaFleur's playbook.
I haven't heard that.
They have denied it. But
of course, they would have to.
There's been incredible reports. I don't know if it's been on ESPN, but it's been on other major platforms talking about, they've been talking to other defensive coordinators within the league who are preparing and stuff for the Packers. And they're going, we don't know what to exactly practice for because this is not the LaFleur's offense. Like they're like, it's a difference between LaFleur's offense having Devontae Adams and not. We've seen that before. They're like, this isn't Packers LaFleur offense without Devontae Adams. This is something completely different. It's less motions. They're able to, in football terms, break down. There are different things going on with this where he is running a very basic, boring playbook, and they don't think it's LaFleur doing it. They think that it's Rodgers just off the cuff calling these plays.
We got Willie Beeman situation going on in the fucking huddle where calls coming in and Aaron's just like, nah, fuck that play. We're changing it.
If there's a guy that thinks he knows better than everyone else, it's fucking Aaron Rodgers. All right. But at the end of the day, this Dallas defense is solid.
Very good.
They are, and not only are they solid, they're solid big time against the run. Guess what the Packers can do? They can try to run the ball, and that's about all they can do on offense. Packers don't have much pass protection right now. Dallas gets after it. Micah Parsons is going to be salivating in this game. I don't care that it's in Green Bay. I don't care. Everyone talks about Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You just don't do it this late in the year. Well, this is the fucking year that you start doing it because this team is an absolute goddamn dumpster fire. Mike McCarthy, he's 12-2-1 against the spread coming off of a bye. Dak Prescott, 12-4 against the spread on extra rest in his career. It doesn't matter that you're going up to Green Bay. It doesn't matter that it's going to be a little chilly up there, 44 degrees. Tony Pollard's going to have himself a fucking day. Dak Prescott's going to have time probably to sit back in the pocket and make throws happen. And at the end of the day, Dallas's defense is just going to eat against Aaron Rodgers because he's got no one to pass to. The most exciting rookie receiver that he had in Dobbs not playing this game. And Dobbs loves to drop passes.
Yeah.
They've got Tanyan, Sammy Watkins. You're going to have to see a hell of a game from A.J. Dillon and the other running back Aaron Jones up there in order for them to keep it competitive whatsoever. But I just do not see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. Like you said, that Dallas defense is fucking legit. Aaron's going to throw at least one pick in this game. Would not surprise me if it is the first series trying to force something to get something going. This is going to be ugly. I really like the under in this game as well because it's 44.5. I don't think the Packers can score more than 17, if that. And I mean, the under feels really good for me on this because
I'll
the
tell
Dallas
you this.
offense has not been spectacular. They have done enough to win games, but their defense is really fucking good. Dallas on the money line for me is a slam dunk. I think they can cover, but I'm not going to take it. 3.5 that's what I'm seeing, is close to where I think it will be, about where the line should be. So the hook keeps me from taking the cover, but I definitely got Dallas on the money line.
Look, earlier in the week, this game was as far as Dallas -5, and I was taking that. So I'm absolutely taking the Dallas -3.5 on this one. I've got no doubts that Dallas is going to win by more than a field goal. I just feel it in my bones. I watch these Packers games because I love watching the Packers get their asses whooped. I've watched all these losses, and it's phenomenal. It's going to happen again. This is not the same team that I've watched for the past 30-odd years of my life.
Yeah,
it is not. And I love it.
No, it's not even close.
And
this team is a shell of themselves. And Aaron is playing like a shell of himself, coming off of back-to-back MVP seasons. And he is playing the worst football probably of his fucking career. Right.
Look, I got to be honest. If they lose here to Dallas and the teams that they have coming up, because the Packers have a very tough schedule coming up here. You've got, again, Dallas this week. They got the Titans next week. The Eagles Then they go to the Bears. It's divisional game. The Bears are looking hot right now. The Rams, Dolphins, Vikings again, and then the Lions. All right. We have 5 losses in a row. It's going to be 6 after today. Probably 7 against the Titans and 8 against the Eagles. 8 losses in a row for the Packers. They're done at that point. They're absolutely done. The Vikings are already 4.5 game favorites in the NFC North. They almost have it locked up. We're almost ready to talk about magic number for the Vikings at this point to lock up the NFC North. How long before we see Love?
That's what I was just about to ask. How long before we see Jordan Love and they say, okay, you know what, Aaron? This is not fucking working. We love you. We appreciate everything that you have done for our organization.
I don't know if they love him anymore.
You are hurt. You are something. Your ass is going to IR. That way there's not this big controversy.
Ayahuasca trip. Send him down to Puerto Rico to get some of that fucking ayahuasca in him or something, because that's worked out so well. And I don't know if the team loves him too much anymore. Apparently there is unrest within the organization, specifically from the players, and they're fucking tired of his antics. They're tired of his bullshit. And I get it. If I had one diva on my team that was saying, y'all are losing the game for me, I'd be pissed too. That's fighting words.
It sounds exactly like fucking any given Sunday. It's either you or me. And damn sure ain't gonna be me. Like, this is a Willie Beeman fucking situation going on. I didn't hear about the fact that there was a potential that he's not running the fucking offense. But yeah, that's crazy. They're not good. Dallas easily on the money line for me. I'm
taking Dallas
confident.
Minus the points.
Yeah, Dallas minus the points. You're very confident.
I almost made a silly bet just for the show, but I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Not this week. Not this week. But I do think, and depending on how this week goes, for the rest of the NFC North, I might make a silly bet about how the Packers are going to finish last in the NFC North this year.
Oh, there you go.
I might.
If you'd have bet that early in the season, your odds would have been way higher. But
I'm not talking a money bet. I'm talking if I'm wrong, I would look silly in this. But I digress. We'll see here in the future weeks what we got going on.
All right.
All right, next game. We have the Cardinals and the Rams being played in Inglewood. This is a home game for the Rams, even though what is home for them. The Rams are favored -3, over under 38.5.
Points are down all across the league, and Vegas is starting to adjust the over-unders to be in line with that. We're going to start seeing a lot of these smaller numbers. Maybe the trend continues and we just don't see any points. However, if we see a big uptick in offense, Vegas is in line to potentially lose a lot of money. I still like a lot of unders this week. The weather's starting to get shittier. I mean, it's fucking snowing here.
And that is a heavy under there. But this is a divisional game, so again, we can expect a close game. The Rams actually played the Cardinals in week 3. Can we expect a close game? I would think so. I think we could. I mean, divisional games are always hard fought. They typically are hard fought. The Rams won 20-12 in week 3. This was, again, a Rams team that wasn't clicking yet, but also a Cardinals team that didn't have D-Hop. And that's a big difference maker for sure, even though there was a little unrest on the sidelines last week.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Yes.
So
that's going to go into my analysis for this pick.
All right. So Kyler, he is 1-7 straight up and 1-6-1 against the spread in his career versus the Rams. So not very good. I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. It is not a double XP weekend for Call of Duty. However, multiplayer is in full effect.
He is 0-2 since the new Call of Duty came out.
I have been scouting Call of Duty this weekend. Warzone 2 releases on the 16th. All right. And for anyone that doesn't know, Warzone is an application that runs basically off the Call of Duty game. It's free to play. Anyone can go out there and play it. But in order to take certain weapons into that Warzone game, you have to grind multiplayer. You got to play a bunch of multiplayer. And there's 50 some odd weapons for Kyler to be grinding right now for his FaZe clan to be ready for Warzone. So he's probably been grinding a lot of multiplayer, and it's the final grind right now to get those camos and attachments and everything, because in 3 days we've got Warzone 2 releasing. All right. So that might play into it a little bit. However, I don't know what you got pulled up on your computer here. Do you know what the touchdown interception ratio is for Matt Stafford this year?
I don't have it here, but if I were going to take a guess, I would say that he is probably throwing 1-1, maybe even more picks than TDs at this point.
It is 1-1. How about an idea on totals?
He can't have more than 12 touchdowns. So 12 and 12 is what I'm going to go with. Lower, 10 and 10. Holy shit, 8 and 8.
8 and 8. 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions this season. For the Super Bowl champs from last year. Ooh. And it's not like they're hurting for receivers. They still got Kupp out there. They got Allen Robinson, who they ain't fucking using, and Ben Skoranek.
God damn it.
They have no offensive line. Stafford looks like when he steps back in the pocket, instead of looking down the field, he's looking down towards his feet to see who the fuck is about to destroy me. No offensive line. That defense, not playing good. Not playing good at all. I'm taking the Cardinals in this one, dude.
Wow. All right.
I'm taking the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Cardinals money line. It is, again, Rams -3 in this one. I'm taking the Cardinals money line. I think that the Cardinals are a better team than the Rams at this point. I think that Kyler will be able to move around, get outside the pocket, get some catches to D-Hop out there. I don't like the Cardinals defense, but it's not like they have a whole lot to defend against. I mean, yeah, Coop's out there, but Stafford ain't throwing touchdowns. 8 games.
8 touchdowns.
8 touchdowns.
8 picks. That's bad.
Not good.
Not good. You're almost going to make me sway, but I'm not doing it. I'm riding the fucking Call of Duty hype train, baby. Kyler is not going to win again. And you kind of alluded to it. There was a little bit of drama on the sideline. D-Hop asking Kyler, what the fuck are you looking at, bro? Like, what are you seeing? Because they're not on the same page at all. Now, D-Hop is still doing a good job. He's still getting his yards. Kyler is missing some opportunities. I think Call of Duty does play into that. But there's another big factor that I think comes into that. The reason that we got that clip of them on is because they are doing the in-season hard knocks down there for the Arizona Cardinals. We saw the Colts do this last year. As soon as they got in the building, Colts did not play very well. I mean, they ended up missing the playoffs. They lost to the fucking Jags at the end of the season. And now we got in-season hard knocks down there with the Cardinals, a team that is in some turmoil. Their quarterback there's a lot of questions around him. A lot due to the organization kind of fucking him over and putting out information that should have never got out with the contract. Some of the clauses in it. Excuse me. Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is very firmly in the goddamn hot seat. And this is not going to make anything look better. There is too much drama and all this shit going on around this team that I don't know that they're going to gel and come together. I'm riding with the Rams on the money line.
We just had Mike Arians pop up. That is something I forgot. Kyler is a game time decision. I believe that Stafford originally was too, and I actually haven't checked up on that. I completely forgot, and that is my bad. It could have been a backup quarterback match. Stafford's in the concussion protocol, hasn't been cleared yet. And thank you for popping that up, Mike. I completely forgot. I actually posted about this earlier in the week, how this could be a game of backups. And it's not Stanford, it's Stafford. That's Stanford's me. Fun.
Yeah. So who is the Rams backup quarterback?
Wolford, something like that. John Wolford.
Wolford.
Bryce Perkins is the third stringer. Who I believe used to be a Baylor.
They still have Colt McCoy down there? Down there in Arizona. Because that could be it. That might actually sway me a little bit if Colt McCoy is playing in this game rather than Kyler. I like Colt. Colt is a smart dude.
Colt McCoy and Trace Sorley.
So if Colt McCoy goes,
I already took my money line Cardinals. So I'm sticking with it.
Oh, God damn it! Stafford is out for sure. Okay, with Stafford out, I got to change. I'm flipping. Thank you, Mike. I'm glad you put that in there before I selected my pick. I'm going to go, what is the 2.5, 3? I'm going to take Arizona plus the points. I'm not going to take them to win outright, but I will take them with the points now that I know that Stafford is out. And I didn't have the inactives pulled up. I should have fucking had that up as well.
So I'm not seeing anything saying that he is out for sure.
for Stafford.
As of 15 hours ago is the most recent stuff I can find. ESPN is reporting 14 hours ago. Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford's statuses are still uncertain. We got Fantasy Pro saying that Stafford is unlikely to play barring a drastic change as of 15 hours ago. Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford both appear unlikely to play in Cardinals-Rams game as of 7 hours ago. So this is looking like it's going to be a backup quarterback match.
Yeah, and if that's the case, give me Colt McCoy over Wolford. So yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals plus the points then. Even if Kyler does play, give me Kyler against the backup for the Rams. I will absolutely take the points on the Cardinals there. Good job, Mike. Appreciate the reporting.
Yeah, I that almost slipped by me. I'm pretty sure I had posted on that earlier in the week. Completely forgot about that one. All right. The Seahawks-Bucks game has finally concluded over in Germany. The Buccaneers won 21-16. There was a late push there by the Seahawks. They scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. Wasn't enough to get it done at the end, though. Buccaneers did put up a touchdown in that fourth quarter as well after a strong 14-point second quarter. So we both got that one wrong.
Yeah, 0-2 to start the week. It's not great. Hopefully we'll get it turned around here. Yeah, because we both took Seattle plus 2.5. Did not hit, but
yep. All right, next game.
Before we do that, since we were just talking about Call of Duty, and our boy just popped in, $20 is $20. What's up, brother? If you guys like gaming, if you're like Kyler and you want to go check out Call of Duty, Warzone, all that stuff, $20 is $20. He is our boy. He is a badass on that game, and you can catch him over on Twitch. He's a good time. Dave is a great guy. And it helps that he is fucking legit at that game. He is so goddamn good.
I was grinding with him this weekend for a little while, getting in some multiplayer matches. You know, he's getting ready for when Warzone pops up. Him and Kyler.
Yeah.
They should look at adding Dave to FaZe Clan so we can get some good inside knowledge there on the Kyler situation. With that, we'll move on to our next game. It is our Sunday night game. One of our better games of the week, in my opinion. We got the Chargers and the 49ers being played in Santa Clara. The line is currently San Francisco minus 7.5, over under of 45.5. And this is a 49ers team that is getting healthier. It sounds like Debo is going to be playing in this one.
They're getting healthier on offense. They're getting more hurt on defense, though. They lost one of their corners. Yeah, they lost Verrett.
Verrett is out. I don't know how much is going to really affect them in this game, though, because the Chargers, they're 4-0 against the spread on the road this year. So that is boding well for the Chargers. But San Francisco has been passing on 66% of their plays in the past 2 games when they brought McCaffrey in. Herbert has an 83.9 passer rating since his rib injury, which is 24th in the NFL. So he's not been passing that well. And it has been a receiving core that's been pretty depleted. Both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both out this game. Keenan Allen has been out fucking forever. Really tough fantasy pick for me. But at the end of the day, the Chargers, they allow the most rushing yards per play in the NFL. That's something that I beat in the past 2 weeks, and now this is going to be third week. It is easy to run against this Chargers team despite all the talent that they brought in, and I really think that's a defensive schematic thing. That's a Brandon Staley issue. I think Staley has to be in the hot seat. The Chargers definitely look like they could go to the playoffs this year, despite having a 5-3 record, not as good as you would expect. And Herbert it's not necessarily that Herbert's not playing well. They just don't have the players out there for him to play with right now. Mm-hmm. The one guy that's been getting it done out there is fucking Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler has been killing it. Number 1 running back in fantasy, especially if you're in a PPR league. He's been fantastic for me in my league with Amber. And you have him. Thank God they were on a bye last week.
I've got him and Saquon. I got the 2 best running backs in fantasy right now. That's what's been keeping my team afloat. I had a shitload of receivers, and they've all been fucking injured. So, you know, Mike Thomas, Keenan Allen, all these guys getting injured. Amon-Ra St. Brown down a couple weeks. I mean, it's been rough going, but we're figuring it out. Either way, San Francisco minus 7.5 points. I think San Fran is going to win this game. I really like them to win this game. I want to say the Chargers are going to be able to cover that spread, though.
Me too.
It could be a lot closer. it's just without those offensive weapons and the ability to run the ball on them, it's tough. I'm going to just take the 49ers money line. I really think that the Chargers could cover this spread, and I'm sure that's where some better money is. But I'm going to go ahead and take San Francisco to win the game outright, just because I don't know if the Chargers are going to be able to muster enough offense to keep up with San Fran. I think this is one of those big San Fran games where they're putting up 30-plus points, and that's the over-under. I think actually is going to go over on this one.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to go the other way, man. I think the Chargers are good enough to hang around. 7.5 feels like too much, so I'm going to take the better odds there. You're talking about a difference. San Francisco on the money line is minus 350. Chargers plus 7.5, minus 110. I think they can keep it close. Austin Eckler is an absolute fucking stud. They've done a really good job of finding ways to make that offense kind of work for them, even though they've had their wide receivers banged up basically all year, and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams has missed a couple games as well now. It does worry me that the 49ers defense is continuing to just have injuries pile on. Their offense is going to be back, and it's going to be at full strength, I believe, at this point. I think this is going to be the first game that we get to see Debo and CMC be features in this offense, because we've either had, the first game they played together, CMC was not featured. He was just kind of part of the game plan every once in a while. So they could be very, very dynamic on offense. But this feels like a game that it's going to be close. This is going to be probably one of the best afternoon games. Might be one of the best games of the week. I think this ends up being close. And I also like the over. I do see this being a higher scoring game because defenses are banged up. And we're going to see a full complement of San Francisco weapons this game. So over. And then I do think the Chargers can keep it close. So I'll take the plus 7.5. I like the odds better there.
All right, that's Sunday night, and we have the Commies versus the Eagles. Currently, Philly is favored.
You sound like a fucking robot.
Oh, internet's being shit.
Yeah, mine's been kind of coming in and out as well because of the snow. But all right, what game did we say was next? Philly and Washington, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we got Philly, Washington. I'll go ahead and take this till your internet comes back. Evo, we couldn't really hear you breaking up. So this is a game right now, minus an 11-point spread. Philly's been very good. They have dominated basically everybody except for last week. We saw some chinks in the armor. And the Commanders are a team that they're very scrappy. They can hang around. We both really like Heineke. And this game is being played in Philadelphia, right? The way this reads. So, Philly versus Commanders. So they're going to be playing in Philly. Philly's been dominant. I don't think that's going to stop. It is a divisional game. There we go. I can see you moving now. Can you talk?
No, it's still showing up on my screen shitty.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And it's a divisional game. So we just talked about this with the last game. Divisional games tend to be, or I guess 2 games go, they tend to be a little closer, right? Minus 11 is just fucking, that's a lot. And I don't CKE. So who is the fuck is CKE? There we go. Evo's just typing in all the stats he pulled up throughout the week.
Oh, it looks okay. Am I good now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Yep. Heineke, because
right.
I see CK in there. It's like, who the fuck is that? Yeah, so Heineke is 8-2-1 against the spread in the last 11 starts, 2-0-1 this season. And that's kind of where I was getting to. 11 is a lot, right? It's way too much. We saw some chinks in the armor for Philly last week. I think Heineke can keep this game close. Easy money here says Philly on the money line, but at minus 550, I don't love that bet at all because we start to see some of those things last week that the Texans were able to do. They're able to run the ball really efficiently. I'll be interested to see how the Commanders can kind of work out a run game. They've had really good games. They've had some really not great games running the ball. Robinson is the rookie's name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he has quite a bit of potential. We just have not seen him put it all together yet, I don't think.
I still like Gibson better.
I like Gibson better too, but he's kind of he's in and out of the doghouse every other week, it seems like. I don't know
why. I don't know why.
If you guys pick Gibson in your fantasy, you know he's been spotty. You would probably not play him most weeks, and then he'll go off, and then you're like, oh, maybe he's not. There's no telling what's going on with their running backs there. But this is way too much. I'm going to take the Commanders plus the 11 points. Heineke is a scrappy kid, man. He's got that fucking moxie that he will hang around. He will find a way to keep this 10 points or less. They'll get a late cover or something because 11 is just too much for me.
Yeah, so Jalen Hurts has won 11 straight regular season starts. That's a pretty damn good run for him. But the one weakness that we have seen on this Eagles team is their ability to stop the run. Now, there's an argument that they're giving up more rushing stats because they get out to these bigger leads in the beginning. God damn it.
No, you're good. You're back. We got you.
It's still is showing bad, but they get out to these big leads early and then I'll play a soft defense and allow the rush to happen. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, this is another week. Jordan Davis is out, that gigantic dude in the middle of their defense. I think that Washington is going to be able to run the ball on them somewhat effectively, and that Heineke is enough of a weird quarterback with his mobility that he's definitely going to throw a pick. You're not going to have every week where you can throw up a Hail Mary and the ref is going to decide to take down the defender for you. That was so frustrating last week. It wasn't like, oh, the defender ran into the ref.
Nah, he threw a block.
The ref turned, angled into the Cam Bynum for the Vikings, and threw a fucking shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't think that the ref was intentionally doing it. I think he was probably trying to do what was best to save his body, but also get the fuck out of the play. For all I care, he could lay down right there. He could see, oh shit, something about to happen. Just lay down. Get the fuck out of the way. Because that was a for sure defense pass, if not a pick.
Yeah.
I truly believe it'd be a pick unless he dropped the ball. Shouldn't have been a catch. Shouldn't have been a fucking touchdown. And that made that game last week way closer than it needed to be. I digress. I am also taking the 11 points for the Commanders. I'm putting in a bet in the sports book though for the Commanders to win this game.
You said Commanders plus 11 as well?
Yes, but I'm putting a bet in the sports book this week for the Commanders to win this game outright.
Oh, really?
I think this might be it.
Okay.
I think the Eagles definitely are going to lose one game this year. I think this might be the one.
Okay. So you're playing it safe on our picks, but I like the bold strategy there. If you guys
I'm not putting a lot of money on it.
Not a lot of money.
I'm going to put a couple bucks on it, but
yeah, I mean the odds are plus 400. Plus 400 pays you good, even if you're playing $10. So
it's a divisional game. Divisional games get played close most of the time. Washington is a scrappy team. They've got a good pass rush. They are decent at running the ball. If they're able to get a good rush going, I mean, Jahan Dotson's not playing in this game, but they've got some other good receiving options. I think the Commanders could possibly pull one out here. So I'm going to take the easy bet here, plus 11 for the Commanders. And then I'm going to be looking at putting a little bit of change on those commies to win the whole thing.
All right.
But that allows us to jump back in time to our games this week. We can start off with my Vikings here. This is a little bit of an interesting one for me because this is the Bills team that I've been saying, I think they're going to go win the Super Bowl the whole year. It's the game that I've kind of been regretting, looking forward to on our schedule because I feel like it could be a blowout. But then you see the Bills go out and lose to
just an absolute
the Jets
fucking
last week.
Stinker to the Jets.
The Vikings are 7-1, and I guess as much as I was worried looking forward to it, I'm kind of glad that I get to see this game right now because, yes, Josh Allen is hurt. He has a UCL injury. That's typically what pitchers need to get Tommy John's surgery for.
Yep.
It took him out 4 games his rookie season when he had a UCL injury. It didn't look great in the replay of how his arm was twisted around, but he's active. He's going to be playing. He's going to be starting this week for the Bills. And realistically, the Bills have an extremely good team, but they are different with or without him. They're a different team when he's on the field. He's been making a lot of really silly interceptions and bad plays, which is brought
He's
other
been
teams.
forcing the ball, it seems like,
Yeah.
right? Like, and that's not typically something that we have seen from Josh Allen since probably his rookie year, where he's forcing into windows because he knows he has the big arm, and guys are getting him now. He's not being able to thread that through, and I don't think he's lost anything on the arm.
We
But
saw it in the Packers game where he let them get a couple scores and get from a couple turnovers to him. Obviously, the Packers never really got close, but then last week versus the Jets, I mean, Josh said it himself. We're not going to win games when your quarterback plays like shit. It's what allowed Miami to come back and beat them early on in the year. Was the Bills beat themselves on that one. With it hurt Josh Allen, I mean, they're going to be upset after losing a game to the Jets, and it is playing at home for the Bills, so that's going to be a real tough one coming into. But Josh Allen might, obviously is going to be 100%. It'll be really interesting to see how much that affects him in his throwing motion and whatnot.
Well, now here something interesting about Josh Allen is that we talked about he had that UCL strain his rookie year, and he also was widely known for having some issues with his accuracy early in his career. He actually changed his throwing motion once already. His arm was getting really far away from his body, putting a lot more strain on that UCL when he's throwing. So Josh went and saw one of those sports science people, and he kind of changed. Everything was much more tight when he's throwing. Now he's got that UCL strain with the newer throwing motion that he's already worked on. It'll be interesting to see how that affects him. Now, Josh is consummate professional. I think he practiced Thursday. Did he practice Thursday or was he out all week?
I didn't see him practice at all. He was at the practices, but not really participating. There's the video that's out there where as soon as media walked in, he sprinted off the field, even though he had shoulder pads and stuff on, I believe. So I'm not sure how much action he's really gotten in with practice. Not that the guy, I think, really needs practice. It's good to get those mental reps and everything, and he'll be out there for that. I'm sure he's a true team player, but I don't know that he's actually going out there throwing too many balls. They probably had to do something to prove to the team, like, hey, I can go out here and play. But it'll still be really interesting to see how this ends up going down. But either way, the line is Buffalo -6.5 being played up there in New York, over under a 46.5. The Vikings are 6-0 in one possession games this year, which is a stark contrast from last year. Buffalo is allowing 14.8 points per game, which is the lowest in the league. Their under has actually hit 6 straight games. Again, the under on this is 46.5. Cousins, he's the third worst, has the third worst record as a 6+ point underdog since 1970 for quarterbacks who have a minimum of 15 starts. He's 1-14 or a 6.7% winning percentage when the team is favored or when they are underdogs of 6 or more points. So that doesn't bode well for Cousins. And again, Allen, I think, is the linchpin to this. He's got that UCL injury. Is that going to really affect his game that much? And would a Case Keenum have to possibly pop in there to finish out the game? The fact that they didn't elevate Barkley off the practice squad, I think, is pretty telling that they're going to be relatively confident that he's going to be able to play and play well.
He's going to play. He's going to start. I don't know how well he'll play. We talked about some of the issues that Josh has had, and obviously the UCL is going to cause another factor there. They're going to have to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to have to get the ball out of his hands a little quicker because, listen, Josh is a big dude. He can run. I don't think we'll see too many designed runs for Josh this week, trying to protect that elbow. They're going to need to get the ball out of his hands quick. Your guys' pass rush has been fucking phenomenal this year. Daniil Hunter and what the hell is
Zadarius
Smith. I think they're the top-rated pass rushing duo in the NFL right now. They're going to have to get the ball. They have to get the ball out quick. Now, Stephon Diggs is an absolute stud. He can do a lot of things with the ball in his hands, but Gabe Davis is that deep threat. I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get in this game because I think they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands quick and establish a run game so they're not putting that much pressure on Josh. You guys are really good. I still don't like the way your run game looks really at all. This is something that I've talked about before. It's not a big difference, but going from the inside zone scheme or from the outside zone scheme to the inside zone scheme, it's been an interesting transition. You guys have pass blocked a lot better, but the run game's still not exactly where I thought you guys would be or hoped you would be, and I'm sure it's not where you hoped it would be at this point either. I think you guys are very, very fucking good at football, though. I think that you are good enough to hang with this Bills team because the game plan that I expect them to employ with the shorter passing game and running the ball more. And 6.5 is a lot. I'm going to take you guys to cover the 6.5. I think this will be a closer game. You guys can hang with them. Especially if you can get that run game going, it's going to be tough against that Bills defense, but I'm going to take you guys plus the 6.5.
So I'm going to be super stoked if we win, but I am honestly not expecting it. All I'm hoping for is a close game and to see some life out of this team, keeping it close with, again, the team that I expected in the Bills to be the, AFC representative in the Super Bowl. So I also am going to take the 6.5 points for the Vikings. We have been keeping all of our games close, minus the one in Philly. And if we can get one out against the Bills, I mean, I'll be ecstatic. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the points for the Vikings. Big X factor for us, I suppose, is TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson, traditionally when players get traded, they take a week or two to actually kind of come into their own. I mean, we saw this last week. Bradley Chubb, I think he had like 2 pressures, 1 tackle, no sacks. Big name players that get traded, they normally don't do a whole lot. CMC in his first game there with the 49ers was all right, but nothing special. Didn't really make an impact, and they didn't win that game. Hawkinson comes out 9 targets, 9 receptions, immediately a big impact passing wise on the offense. I love how he fits with our team. I love how quick he was able to pick up that playbook. And I love that he's got the flowing Viking locks and beard going for him too. So I'm hoping to see more out of Hawkinson in this game. And I think the other storyline narrative to kind of watch is Jefferson and Diggs. Stephon Diggs traded from the Vikings to the Bills, and Diggs has continued to have a stellar career. But with the picks that we got in return, we went out there and got Justin Jefferson. And if we hadn't gotten Jefferson, I don't know what our receiving core would really look like right now. Jefferson is easily top 3 in the NFL. I think he's the best receiver in the NFL.
He's quickly going up that list for me too. I wouldn't put him anything lower than 3 at this point. I would put him potentially number 1 though. And he's very fucking good.
And I think that that's going to be the sub storyline of this game is Jefferson versus Diggs. They both have talked highly of each other, a lot of respect for each other, but I think they both want to try to prove who's the better out of the two of them to see who really won that trade. So that'll be fun to watch, see if Jefferson puts up another triple-digit stat line and can get himself another touchdown in this game. So I'm definitely excited for that. And realistically, I just want to make sure that we stay competitive with this Bills team and don't let it get out of hand.
Yeah, I don't think it'll get out of hand, man. I think that Kirk is playing in a 1:00 game. Like, give me Kirk Cousins in a 1:00 game to at least keep it close. And the injury to Josh is a little worrisome for me, just because we've seen what it did to him in his rookie year. They're going to have to change the game plan a little bit. And I think that lends itself to you guys. It'll neutralize your pass rush a little bit if they do what I expect, run the ball more and get the ball out quick. But I still think you guys are good enough to hang with them. So, yep, plus 6.5. That's where we're both going.
So, have you seen the movie 300?
Oh, love that movie. I saw it in like 4 fucking times in movie theaters. That was my freshman year of college.
All right. So if the Vikings win, it's going to be interesting to watch Kirk Cousins looking like Xerxes off of 300.
Oh, dude, I love
to the fucking deck with chains and shit flying back on that flight to Minneapolis.
I love Kirk Thuggins. Kirk Thuggins is maybe my favorite quarterback in the NFL. It's so out of place.
He's such a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
He's such a fucking nerd.
Yeah, fuck. Oh, did you see the Adam Schefter bullshit that they tried to have?
I definitely saw that. Goldie
they
the Gopher
fucking ruined it.
At the Minnesota Gophers game yesterday, Goldie the Gopher was on the sidelines with no shirt on, chains on, and the glasses. He was doing the Kirk. That would be a nice little treat. I'm not expecting it, but that would be a great treat. All right, moving on to our last game to talk about here is your Browns. Your Brownies going down to Miami, getting a little bit of sun, the South bitch. It's Miami -3 for the line on this one, over under of 49.5. Some stats for this. Tua is third in completion percentage at 70% in the NFL, first in yards per attempt at 9.2 yards per attempt, and first in pass rating 115.9. He's also 10-4 against the spread at home in his career. The Browns, they are 1-6 or 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 games following a win, which they did get a big time win. And then the Browns plus the points is who I'm going to be taking on this one.
Yeah.
If that's a surprise to you, I don't know. I'm taking Browns plus the points.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
The Browns defense has struggled some this year, but their pass rush against that depleted Dolphins offensive line, I think, is going to end up being the difference. Their offense has looked pretty decent. You know, the Browns offense looked pretty decent the past couple weeks.
Jacoby's played fine.
I think Chubb's going to keep running the ball as he always does. You guys are going to take this down to the wire. And I think that you guys might actually get yourself a win, but I'm definitely taking you guys plus the points on this one.
Yeah, so I think I actually do think we have a potential to win this game. I like the Browns this game. We're getting some much needed help in the secondary, but we're going to be losing some people out of the linebacking core. So Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, joke, he's out of this game. That really hurts. He's one of our better defenders in that middle of the defense. We need him to help us kind of lock down these tight ends. Gesicki is a very good tight end. He's not been used at all the way I think he hoped he'd be used this year, but that is going to hurt. But we are getting Denzel Ward back. That is going to be a huge lift. Denzel has been banged up with concussions. He's had 4 concussions in a very short amount of time, about 4 years. So that is very worrisome for me as a Browns fan, seeing him out all the time, but also as just a fan of football, understanding how bad concussions can be. If he gets another one, it could be very detrimental to his long-term playing career. But he is a stud. He runs very well. He is a guy that I think could match up against Tyreek Hill very well. He's gone up against him before when we played Kansas City a couple years ago. I think it's possible that he could have a really good bounce back game, even though he has not played well this year. Getting him back is going to be a big boost, I feel like. We're going to be able to run the ball very well. Miami's not great at stopping the run. That's the one thing that we do very well. And the play calling has been better. At least it was better last week. Good mix of, run, pass. Jacoby has played well. He works way better off the play action. We need to establish a good run game right off the rip. I like us to cover in this for sure, especially because there's the hook. It's 3.5 rather than the 3. But I like our chances to win today. This is not going to be a very fun game. I don't think it's going to be a little bit ugly, at least for one side of the ball. We're going to see Tua try to maybe push the ball down the field a little bit, but our pass rush has been fantastic. Myles Garrett is an absolute fucking unit. Jadeveon has been okay. I'd like to see a move made there, maybe in the offseason. He gets a lot of pressures. He's good against the run. He just doesn't finish. We need our defensive line to step up a little bit more in the interior as well. But I'm all in on the Browns to cover. It'll be a close game. But I would really, really enjoy a win. I've had a great week. If we can keep that fucking going, I'm all in for it.
Yep. I think you guys have a really good chance of winning, but I'll take the points just to kind of play it safe on this one. But with that, man, that's the week for us. We got 12 minutes till game time, maybe a little bit less.
So we are starting to run out of time. Let me get these down. So plus 3.5. So yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll bounce the fuck out here, guys. Game's getting ready to start. Make sure you check your fantasy lineups. If you have not done so, you're probably retarded, but make sure that you get that done right now. Get these bets in. I'm going to go ahead and push out to the couple people that have been texting me about getting the spreadsheet sent over. I'll send that out if you were not able to hang out for the whole show. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. You can go ahead, check out the Facebook group, the page. Also, just in case the Facebook group decides to be a bitch and not play the video, we're on YouTube, Twitter. You interact with us there. Instagram, TikTok. Going to start trying to put out some more content, especially with me going and doing some color commentary stuff here in the near future. But outside of that, I got nothing else. You got anything else for the people before we leave?
Oh, man. Hopefully you have some really fun, exciting games today. And Skol Vikings, bringing out the old fist again.
The fist. It's been a while since that thing's been out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That's Evo. We thank you guys so much. Enjoy your Sunday. We're the fuck out of here. See you.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional.